Let's read through the scenario. Okay, so we read all about this story. Now let's see what the scenario that we can actually play with this. So here's the map. Map run Frostbitten Feared. This is the online scenario 6 Blizzard Blitz. And this is how we build the map. Now when it comes to a feared or a ford, fords are actually quite mountainous. And this one's kind of flat, but again, you don't need to have like mountains on your Heroscape tiles in order to have just a nice, flat game surface. And this shows the snow hex tiles because you're using the packs from where is it? Let's show it. But you see, you got 24 space snow tiles, which we'll eventually get. Some of us already have. 7 space snow tiles, 3 space snow tiles. Yes. That you use, and then 1, 2, 3. So 3 levels. You got your ice. You got your water spaces. You got some ruins here. You got the trees with snow, the snow-covered trees. Nice little aesthetic effect. And let's read through this excerpt here. As the winters last longer and the northern winds push further south, many regions in Valhalla have been drastically affected by decades of war. Even lakesides in the northern regions of Lar have gone from favored summer retreats to treacherous fields of ice. As the sun tries its best to free northern Valhalla from the snow-bleached reaches of winter's overstaying cruelty, the highland fords gradually start to thaw. Once solid ice, patches of the surface now turn into a thin and dangerous screen that coats the top of the waters below. Okay, so just describing, the weather situation in this area of Lar in Valhalla. Hold on a second. Excuse me. Okay, online scenario 6. Blizzard Blitz Master Game. Okay. So from that story comes this scenario. Amidst sleet and wind, 2 parties of warriors face off on opposite ends of the frozen river. So you got your 2. That's kind of cool. It's kind of like in tournament fashion. You have opposite ends of start zones. Parties of warriors face off on opposite ends of a frozen river. As the battle intensifies, so does the storm. As it escalates into a blizzard, the armies must claim victory before the numbing cold forces them to retreat. Okay. So round marker track. Okay. So so this is a short type scenario, like 4 round sleet. Round 1 is sleet. Figures take 1 wound when they begin to fly. Oh, interesting. Blizzard. So you got snow being kind of an element. So it's kind of hard to have flying minis here. Blizzard figures cannot check line of sight beyond 3 spaces. Now my question is, after each round, does each disability in the weather still apply? Like, does sleet apply for round 2, round 3, and round 4? And then does blizzard apply for round 3 and round 4? Would heavy snow apply for the next round 2? I don't know if it says that here, but that's how I would do it. Let's see here. Figures cannot check line of sight beyond 3 spaces. Heavy snow. Snow and ice tiles uses the heavy snowfall and slippery ice optional rules respectively. Wow, so you gotta really... And there's a glyph of Dagmar. You got the walls. So yeah, and that just means it's, you take movement penalties. Frostbite. All figures roll 1 less defense die. After this round, the game ends. Interesting. So it's a really quick scenario. Goal: destroy all your opponent's figures before the storm forces you to retreat. Okay, so the storm's just coming in, and and you have to hurry up. The players decide who will be player 1 and player 2, and they each build 510-point armies. Whoa! 510 points. That's a lot. That's a pretty good sized army for 4 rounds. I mean, you could be able to wipe out, you know, your 510 player army in less in 4 rounds, but I was expecting a lower point army. But they each 510 point armies. Player 1 starts in the blue start zone. Player 2 starts in the red starting zone. Place the Glyph of Dagmar. Power up. Where shown on the map, like right in the center there. So they both have their start zones. When the other player has no figures left on the battlefield, you win. At the end of round 4, if both armies still have figures on the battlefield, the player with most points on the battlefield wins. Okay, special rules. Thin ice. Treat water tiles on the battlefield as they were ice tiles called thin ice. When a figure ends movement on a thin ice tile, well, no one would purposely walk into a water tile, roll the 20-sided die. If the result is equal to or lower than the figure's height, it cracks the surface and takes 1 wound from the jagged edges and freezing waters. Interesting. If the result is a 1, the figure takes 2 wounds. Okay. So, well, that's kind of cool, though. So for thin ice, you could walk on it. You could walk on a water tile, but you'd have to roll a 20-sided die, and it just depends on, you know, your height and if your chances of taking a wound or 2, you know, might not be worth the risk. But there's that option of actually walking on water. That would be interesting. Worsening storm. Begin the game using the light snow and normal ice terrain rules. As the rounds progress, the wintry storm intensifies, making the battlefield more dangerous. Each round, a new condition is added to the battlefield, along with all the prior conditions. Okay, so that answers my question. So yes, my question earlier is, do these get added on as it goes? Yes, that all applies. Okay, so that's a scenario. It's interesting that like it's such a simple scenario to where it's like you just bring, you know, 2 armies together, fight them. Whoever wipes out each other's army first within 4 rounds wins. Or whoever has the most points wins. This is interesting because, I mean, they were talking about a poison bottle, and it's too bad they didn't come up with an additional scenario. But I mean, a person can. You could have a levy attack led army, along with a Fia Bonnie, Killian, and Doran army on this side, and then levy attack led army on this side. And you could have actually one of the pirates be holding the vial of poison, and Levy Attack's got to get that vial. But I think it would take more than 4 rounds to get it, and then, I mean, Levy Attack might just have to obtain it. You know, as long as they obtain it, then, you know, you could take it. It might have been a scenario that might have been too difficult, but it would have been interesting if they would have had something like that as an addition. You're playing into, you know, the story, but I mean, it's 2 big armies within 4 rounds. You got to deal with weather. It's not a bad scenario. Pretty straightforward. Almost tournament style. Pretty simple to do. So I don't think they probably want to overcomplicate things with a poison vial scenario. They were already doing different scenarios already. So yeah, I would probably give this rating a 3 or 4 out of 5. For scenarios, and now I'm just starting to rate scenarios. Should have rated the ones previous, but that's okay. I mean, I like it. It just seems very simple, and with the addition of the snow makes it, you know, additionally fun. And there's not much lore that is attached to this scenario besides just talking about the weather. But that's how it is. It's really fun that this scenario, you know, includes like the ice and snow parts of it, and then the snow-covered trees and all that. So that makes it fun. You just gotta, you know, mine the ice and the thin ice. I mean, I think the thin ice and part of the scenario is kind of an interesting take on it too. Even though normally I try not to step in water at all, but there it is. So yeah, that's taking a look at the Frostbitten Forward map and online scenario 6, given to us from Renegade Games for Heroscape master game called Blizzard Blitz.